Hello, everyone, and welcome along. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's the off season, and we're looking back on the 2023 tennis campaign of our senior ATP Tour handicapper, Sean Calvert. Good afternoon to you, Sean.
Good afternoon, mate. How's it going?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. And it wasn't a bad year last year. I mean, I know by your high standards, you probably look at it and think, could have done a little bit better. What we're going to do on this podcast, we're going to go through our best 10 picks. But when we started this, not last season in 2023, in 2022, we went 80-1, 66-1 winner back-to-back. We didn't have those winners, but we still showed a huge 40-unit profit for 2023. When you look back on the season, how do you feel as a handicapper it went?
I think it went pretty well. It was almost exactly the same profit as the season before, actually. Just didn't have the same.
Really, I was surprised, but I thought we would have made a little bit more.
Similar. It's pretty. Well, I think the difference is we didn't keep a running score, did we, last year? And for example, I was talking about my own personal profit there, really, because you weighed in with things like Missetti that was 80-1. That wasn't on the thing, was it? Because we weren't counting it. So pretty similar profit. It's a bit unlucky with some players, a bit of luck in other times. It's a normal season, is it? Some things you think, the luck's never going to go our way, and then you get things that it's just flowing, and it's the ups and downs of a normal tennis season, isn't it? Perhaps not as many eye-catching winners as the season before, but as I say, ultimately it was roughly the same profit from my personal point of view.
Well, from this show, we made 40 units, which was a 14% ROI. I remember having a conversation with you.
Well, that's pretty good, isn't it?
I remember having a conversation with you back in the end of the last season, not last season, the season before, using the dates now, in Paris. And you said that you'd be very disappointed if you didn't make 10% return of the investment. 14% we made on this show, 40 units of profit. When you look at it in terms of your handicapping over the years, is it a normal season, or would you say it was a decent season? And compared to your best or your worst season over the many years you've been betting on tennis?
I'd say the last 2 years have been pretty good. Some of the best, to be honest. I've got such a long sort of history in the game. I can't really remember most of the seasons. I can remember some great ones. I remember a couple of bad ones, but I think I've mentioned in the past there were occasions when I was asked to do certain types of bets, which I wouldn't normally do. So that sort of skewed the figures a little bit on some of those years, many years ago. But I think last two seasons, I think they've been pretty good. I mean, I don't recall saying about 10%, but if I did, I
think we spoke in Paris, and it was when I sort of mentioned this project and said, listen, next year there may be another opportunity to do other things as well. And I asked you, what you would make, and I think you said you'd make you predicted around about 10%. You've done better than that, 14%. So you weren't far off. It was a compliment. It was a good thing.
I think 14% by anybody's standards is really good, isn't it? You work in other fields as well, the soccer and all the rest of it. And, I'm not sure about the margins there, but it feels pretty good.
It's very good. I think if anybody makes 5% on a sport, I think they're doing very, very well. 14% is a very, very good return of your money. We are obviously subject. We put our picks up live on this show, and we always put comments on, and we obviously get criticism as well as positive stuff as well. We have a lot of supporters who back us through thick and thin, and we have a lot of people who give us criticism. Rightly so. I mean, I'm not, it's up to you. But if you bail out of the bad times, and there was a few bad times in the season, wasn't it? We sort of had a good start, the middle section around Wimbledon, the French Open, things weren't well, and we come really good at the end. And what advice would you say to those people who are new to this channel, who have gone through some sort of rocky waters? You've got to stick with it, haven't you?
You do. It's a long-term thing. If you take any short-term snapshot of anything, it can be great, it can be terrible. Anything, even if you're investing, on the stock market or whatever, you could have a great week, you could have a terrible week. You do have to look at it long term. It's up to you how long term you want to do it. But I wouldn't advise coming in, watching this show, we get a couple of winners and then expecting that to be the same week in, week out. You're going to get some great points. You're going to get some bad points. In a way, I can almost not predict, but I can sort of sense when some of the bad points are going to be. Generally speaking, like a second week in a slam, for example, you're not going to get much value there. February for me is always an extremely difficult month. I think we had quite a poor February this year. Pretty sure the last two Februaries have been not great, to be honest. There are generally high points, which some of which can be foreseen. Others can't. It's a long-term project. And if you're going into something, you can't, like anything, you can't expect to just go straight through with winners and winners and winners and everything's great and everyone's happy. You're going to be ups and downs as in any walk of life.
100%. You've got to stick with it. It's a process. It's not going to win money every single week. You've got to stick with it, and the returns will be there for you. Obviously, people are entitled to, but I think the staking plan is the key. Stick to your right staking plan. Stick to the staking plan that you can afford. Affordability is a huge word now in gambling. Make sure you can afford to lose your losses, and obviously, your winners. Manage your bank, and you'll be okay. Just before we go into what we're going to do here, we're going to give you the top 10 bets of our biggest picks on 2023 on the ATP Tour season. But before we go into that, some people might have watched this and they may have never seen a podcast before. The 2024 ATP Tour season is a few weeks away now. What would they expect from your handicapping? What's your style of handicapping, Sean? If you're looking for angles, I know it, but someone who hasn't seen you before, where do you look for value, and where do you highlight where you think that, so if you were going to sum up your handicapping skills and where your sort of price market you'd be looking for, what are we looking for?
Yeah, if you've got to look for the value, that's the bottom line. There's no point in having a bet, even if you're pretty convinced about it. If you're betting at the wrong price, ultimately you're not going to get very far in this game or any betting game. There are opportunities. There are opportunities in certain tournaments, certain conditions. Generally speaking, the bookmakers might not have as much of a handle on as perhaps I have on certain tournaments, certain occasions. But ultimately, you've got to. If you think the price is wrong or slightly wrong, then you've got to attack that price. If you're seeing a day where you generally agree with all the prices, then that's a no bet day. I'm not my style of betting. Some people agree with it. Some people don't. If you see a value bet, have it. If you don't see any value, don't have a bet that day.
Yeah, you'll tend to be looking for a little more on the outside, a sort of a price around about plus 110 to around about plus 115. You'll see a lot of
generally plus money, yeah.
Yeah, those kind of prices. Me personally, when I was betting a lot heavier than what I was, and I followed the market a lot more, I would look for something around about minus 125.
Value's value, isn't it?
Yeah, which I thought should have been
I
thought should have been about minus $2. So that was my kind of approach. Yeah. I sort of played that. But
Sean, you can get value at odds on. Yeah, sorry, mate. You can get value at odds on, can't you?
Yep, Sean is very much a plus money better. So you are going to go through highs and lows if you're betting plus money. But ultimately, in the year, 14% return, 40 units. And we sit here at the end of the year thinking, probably could have done a little bit better. But
you always think you could have done better, don't you, at anything, at any point? Particularly if you had a great winner, you always think, why didn't I have more on that?
Well, we're going to take you back to those big winners. We're going to take you back, and we're going to ask you whether you should have more on it and whether you should have.
The answer is yes, on all 10 occasions.
Yes, these are the top 10 bets that you had, and the top 10 prices in 2023. And we're going to start off in joint number 9. So there's two. It was a plus 2 unit 80 return. So we picked someone out at plus 280, and it was Omni Kumar to win his first set against Botic van der Sandschulp. Now, anybody who's watching, I had to ask you who Omni Kumar was. I didn't have a clue who he was. And you told me who he was. He was going to win the first set against Botic van der Sandschulp. That was way back in August, towards the end of the season in Winston-Salem. And he actually won the match. He didn't actually win he won the first set 6-3, so we cashed at plus 280. But he actually went on to win the match 7-5 in the second set. Should we have bet him to win the match, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have done.
I mean, in hindsight, of course. But I mean, the amount of times I have these bets, and you just look at it and you think, he's got a chance here, but you don't know how to bet it. Do you just go all out and bet him to win and hope he doesn't lose something like 7-5 in the third? Or do you just think, he's going to get off to a good start, or maybe just to win a set? But with this one, Botic came in here in absolutely dreadful form, didn't he? He had a horrible sort of 3 or 4 months after he choked away the Munich final, and he was in no sort of form. It's the week before a Grand Slam. A lot of players, and he always strikes me as one. You wouldn't have thought that he'd be going too much all out the week before a Grand Slam. And on the other side of the coin, you got Omni Kumar, who's got in as a lucky loser. If I remember rightly, Dominic Thiem had to withdraw with illness. He got back in as a lucky loser, beat Hur-Cash, I think it was, in the first round, which is a great win. Hur-Cash's struggles against left-handers continue. And everything he said after the game, Kumar, it was all, I love this state. I love these courts. It was all new and fascinating and great for him, and the adrenaline was there. And Botic, he doesn't look the most inspiring of characters the best of times, does he? So, and plus he would never. I would have thought he would never have seen Kumar play before, like you hadn't, like a lot of people hadn't. I hadn't seen that much of him, to be honest. But a lefty, kind of an awkward style, makes a lot of balls. Got to play well to beat him, and on this occasion, I was fortunate that he did win the opening set. Because I've had occasions when they've dropped the opening set and gone on to win the match, and then you feel doubly worse. But that one worked out.
That one worked out. That's with plus 280 return, plus 280 the price. Omni Kuma was the only time he featured on Game Bet Match in 2023. Do you reckon he'll feature again in 2024?
Possibly.
Omni Kumar mentions in 2024 Game Bet Match. I'll make you two.
He might get a wild card at Winston-Salem after that next year, so we probably will get a mention at some point.
So Omni Kumar, it's the first time he was there. And he cashed for us, plus 180. It was the only time we picked him, and he won for us at plus 280. Another person who won for us at plus 280 is one of Sean's favourite tennis players, a man who he loves to follow. He actually tried to watch him in Italy, but the crowds were all there. I thought the crowds were there for you, Sean, not Fabio Fognini.
It's unlikely, isn't it, in Rome?
Fabio Fognini is the player for one of us. You said you had a poor February, but he won for us in February in Rio on clay against Carlos Alcaraz. We bet him to win the first set. Plus 280, very similar to what your Omni Kumna was. But
it was just occasion, win a set, wasn't it? Was it win a set?
To win a set, yes, to win a set. Yeah, sorry. And he did win the first set, 7-6. He went on to lose the match 6-2, 6-4 in the next two sets. But Fabio Fognini, at the ripe old age, getting the job done for the final times, we'll probably be betting him to get the job done for us. It's his last. Is he retired? Officially retired?
No, he just won the Valencia Challenger about a few days ago, a week or so ago.
I thought he'd be that'd be it for him. But anyway,
he's still plugging on.
Well, will we bet him again next season? I mean, he must be in the senior stage, surely.
He's old, certainly. But I think with Fabio, it's generally about two things. Is he fit, which he isn't often these days? And is he motivated? Obviously, that's been the question throughout his career. But playing Carlos Alcaraz in Rio, he's going to be up for that. 100%, isn't he? You just wouldn't see Fognini tanking a match like that. Yeah, he might have a bad day, not play particularly well and lose, but there's no way he's not going to be going absolutely 100% to beat someone who's like the up-and-coming kid on the block, so to speak. That he always used to enjoy playing Nadal, didn't he, Fognini? He always used to raise his game playing Rafa. He might not have won, but he won sets numerous times. He beat him a few times. I just thought he'd be up for it. This is just a bit of intuition. I just assumed that Fabio would be up for this, and he was. Couldn't quite see it out physically because you never really know how he is. But yeah, he was always going to be up for it for me.
And he got the job done. He won the first set, 6-7. Alcaraz come back and won the match 6-2, 6-4. But Fabio Fognini getting the last winner, I think probably one of the last big winners for us in his career. I mean, he might win challenger events. I can't see him doing much in the ATP Tour. But if he gets drawn against a big player, you never know.
And he's fit.
And he's fit. And he's got to be on clay, I presume, as well.
So you say that. I mean, he played, where was it? He played quite recently. He beat Lorenzo Sonego, didn't he, indoors? Was it Metz? He absolutely hammered him, thrashed him in Metz a few weeks ago indoors. You never know with Fabio, do you? If he's feeling it, watch out.
Yeah. So Fognini got the job done for us back in February in Rio. His name was Fognini, and he was dancing in the sand in Rio, Carlos Alcaraz against Alcaraz, and he won at plus 280. Number 8 on the list, Felix Auger-Aliassime. Didn't have a very good season in 2023. So ended 2022 in brilliant form, but didn't really replicate that in 2023. Dropped down the rankings. An interesting player for 2024. I'm interested in your thoughts on him. But he got the job for us done. He won 3-1 against Pospisil in the Australian Open back in January. He lost the first set, 6-1. He won 7-6, 7-6, 6-3 to cash at plus 320, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, plus 300-ish, was it?
Just 300.
That's what I've got written down here, but yeah, it could be. Yeah, what the 3-1 bet is one I often go for in majors. It's one whereby you think you're pretty sure that the favorite is going to win, or the player generally is the favorite is going to win, but not necessarily easily. A lot of the times when you've got like a big player, you can tell what they're going to win 3-0 Alcaraz against the world number 476, generally speaking 3-0 or whatever. But if you think it's going to be reasonably close, Pospisil obviously has got, he's getting to the veteran stage of his career now, but he's still got decent weapons. Felix is always pretty much always a terrible starter, a really slow starter in majors, particularly in the early rounds. He's got an awful record in opening sets. In hindsight, I should have gone for Pospisil to win the first set, but this felt like Pospisil would have enough to win a set. I would have assumed it would have perhaps been on a tie break. As it happened, it was much easier. But Felix to come through in the end. And as far as next season's concerned, I'm not sure about Felix because You look back to 12 months ago, he was flying, wasn't he?
He ended quite well, though, didn't he? He did end 2023 a lot better. He improved a little bit.
A bit, but if you're looking at that season for him, it was really poor compared to the previous season. Be interesting. So it could have been just injury related. I know we had a few injuries, particularly early on in the year. He may be just that was just sort of lingering for the rest of the year. I don't know. Maybe we'll see him come out fresh and revitalized. But yeah, it wasn't a great season for Felix. He'd have to do an awful lot better to figure in the top 10 next year.
But he did well for us way back in January. Seems a long time ago, almost a year ago. But Felix Auger-Aliassime won for us 3-1 against Pospisil in the Australian Open. That is number 8 in our top 10 tennis bets for the Bet Rivers on the ATP Tour in 2023. The next match, got to take you back in January again, a long time ago. Adelaide, Kokkinakis to win the first set 7-6 against Maxime Cressy in the final of Adelaide. He won the first set 7-6. He won the second set 7-6 and won the title. Both of these players' forms dropped immensely since then, but that was plus $4. That was
a great price, that, isn't it?
That was our best return on any match bet or a prop related match bet on 2023. Kokkinakis winning the first set 7-6 against Maxime Cressy. That was an unbelievable price.
Yeah, you look back at it now and you think, well, should have had the whole bank on there or something. But two reasons for this. Obviously, the conditions were quick in Adelaide. Cressy, very, very much serve dominated. Kokkinakis also quite serve dominated in his statistics, doesn't return particularly well. Cressy returns horribly. In fast conditions, a tiebreak was always likely. I went for the extra bit of juice on this one because Cressy's record in tiebreaks was, and probably still is, pretty poor considering the weapons that he has, because he just tends to go for too much. He'll either double fault under pressure or he'll go for a huge second serve for no apparent reason, double fault. Kokkinakis had a much better record in tiebreak, so the obvious play for me was Kokkinakis to win the first set 7-6. It doesn't always work out that way, does it? There's many times when I've had similar kind of workings out and it's gone maybe 7-5 or something like that. But yeah, this one worked out well.
It was, and it was our biggest winner, like I say, on a match bet related market on 2023. Now, the next 6 places are all taken up from some outright picks and tournaments outright. So each week, Sean gives a tournament outright pick, a couple of picks sometimes, and just the lean maybe now and again. But these were official picks. And these were the ones that reached the final. We had so many reached the semi-finals and quarterfinals that didn't go our way, but these are ones that at least reached the final. We're obviously with Bet Rivers. If they reach the final and we bet them each way, we're collecting. And the next one was an each way pick. Yoshita Nishioka in Zhuhai. He got to the final back in September at 20-1. He was our pick. He made us 4.5 units of profit. It was a half point each way pick. And he got into the final against Karin Khachanov, and Khachanov showed the business 7-6-6-1. But Nishioka, the draw, he beat some big players to get there, and he got to the final, which we cashed. And that's the beauty of the each way betting that Bet Rivers offers, isn't it?
It is. I mean, with Nishioka, that he's almost my go-to guy for the Asian swing. Certainly the first couple of weeks of it. He doesn't tend to do so well in his home tournament of Tokyo, but he's normally exhausted by then. We had him the year before as well, didn't we, to win Seoul in a very similar week. Again, quick conditions. He ended up winning that tournament. This one was a runner-up, unfortunately, but still cashed on the each way. Yeah, Nishioka just far more motivated than most at this time of the year, being obviously from Asia. Always enjoys the quick conditions. If it's quick and bouncy, that's perfect for Nishioka. We had to guess a little bit on this because Zhuhai hadn't been played, had it, on the tour for about 3 or 4 years because of the COVID and stuff. And the 1 year that it was played, it was really slow. So I did initially wonder why he had chosen Zhuhai, but I assumed there must have been a reason. And it turned out to be very, very quick, didn't it? Or certainly a hell of a lot quicker than it was back in 2019. So perfect conditions for Nishioka, a guy that's hadn't had a great season, but this was an opportunity for him on his home soil, so to speak, to put it right. And he did. And a lot of other guys, first week of the Asian swing, they're not up for it, are they?
Nope, he was. Didn't get all the money, but with that each way protection, you can get through to the final. and you're cashing at half the odds 1-2. So it was a half point each way. We made 4.5 units of profit on Nishiokai in Zhuhai, and that was in September. And now we're going to take you back to April, stateside. Houston is the venue. Thomas Martin Etcheverry, another pick of ours at 20-1. Gets to the final, faces Francis TFO. Francis TFO beats him 7-6, 7-6, but Etcheverry had chances in that match. Another runner-up, and we think, are we going to get a winner? He was plus 450 units, and that was tied fifth, Etcheverry. Seen Etcheverry since then. Haven't been really impressed with him, but he was looking good around April, looking good around May, and the French Open in May. But he landed some each-way money for us again in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, we were unlucky. We backed him, I think he was in Cordoba, actually, before that, in February. And he was playing really well. He tends to play pretty well at altitude on the clay. Lost a really bad one. I think he was 1-33 in play. Lost to João Sosa in Cordoba. Should have gone on to make the final in that tournament. Didn't. But I sort of stuck with him because Houston, it's not your usual clay event. It tends to be a bit quicker because it's American clay on top of a sort of hard surface. I just figured that he would appreciate the conditions there had been a little bit quicker. And it was, if you remember the tournament, it was almost a washout, wasn't it? They had about 2 or 3 days where they couldn't play at all because of the rain. But he stuck it out, got to the final, a little bit unlucky, as you say, but to bump into a TFO who was, as it turned out, he was hugely motivated. He had loads of family and friends there, didn't he? And he was really up for it. He ended up nicking the final in a couple of tie breaks. But I think that was a good bet. I think the Cordoba bet we had with him was good as well. And I think he proved it. He proved my point by going on to make the quarterfinals of the French Open. So he was a player that we got at a good price at the right time. You wouldn't get him now 25-1, would you, to win a 250 on clay?
No,
favorite, probably.
No, and he rewarded us with the each way again with Bet Rivers. Another player rewarded us with each way was our fourth on our list. It's Benjamin Bonzi in the tournament you were at in Marseille back in February. The Marseille tournament didn't really rank highly on your list of tournaments last year, but we got a finalist, and we made 5.75 units by taking Bonzi each way at 25-1, and the person who beat him in the final was Hubert Hur-Cash, who beat him quite fairly easily, 6-3, 7-6. But a good run for the final for the Frenchman in one of his home tournaments, and we cashed again, plus 575 again with the each way. A lot of sports books across America do not offer the each way, so we've got to play win only. So we got 3 players there, Bonzi, Etcheverry, Nishioka, who we've cashed by making the final, which is a little bit of value as well.
Yeah, this was about motivation as well. I think he's a Marseille fan, Bonzi. I think he's got a lot of Marseille connections. So I assumed he was going to be up for it. He was in decent form. He had a wrist injury just after that Marseille final, actually, which kind of kept him out for a lot of the rest of the season. It certainly curtailed his progress towards the end of the season. But again, we're a little bit unlucky on that one because, as you said, I was at the tournament. I saw Hur-Cash, watched him in his couple of his early matches. He struggled. He 3 sets against Raidi. Should have been beaten, actually, by Mikael Ymer. Mikael Ymer had chance to beat him. I think it was in a final set tiebreak, but which he led in something like 5-3, if I remember rightly. He should have put Hur-Cash away. Had he done so, we might have got the full 25-1 on Bonzi, but the luck wasn't with us on that occasion, and we had to settle for the each way.
Yeah, Bonzi each way, 25-1, but a nice 5.75 return on profit, and number 4 in our list of top 10 winners in 2023. Now in the top 3, and this was a bold one. Adrian Manarino to win in Astana, Kazakhstan, back in September, 9-1. You went win only. This is the first one of the only tips this year that you didn't use the each way, but you went straight in win only, and he won the tournament 9-1 to give us a 9-unit return on that event. Beat Corder in the final in 3 sets. Manarino 9-1. What made you go for the win only part of it?
Just thought the price wasn't fabulous at sort of 9-1. I didn't think the conditions were particularly great for Manarino, but I think he'd made the semis there the year before. He certainly got a good record there the couple of times that he'd played there previously. Indoor hard, he's always a tricky customer, Manarino. He ended up winning another tournament as well, didn't he? Towards the end of the season. Can't remember which one it was now, but he certainly won another one later on. It just looked like a great draw. I didn't think there was anybody in that bottom half of the draw, if I remember rightly, that Astana draw that was going to beat him. I looked at it and thought, who's going to beat Manu unless he has a really bad day. So I kind of had him penciled in for the final, and I looked at the top half of the draw. I thought, yeah, Corda, but we've had the look we've had with Corda. It's not been great, has it? I thought the worst we're going to do is get Corda in the final, and then it was maybe 50-50 or whatever. But yeah, Manarino, a guy that I see, by the way, every single tournament I go to. The first player or person I ever see when I get to a tournament, Adrian Manarino.
Don't they
I said
say?
hello to him. I said hello to him in Marseille, completely not in Mallorca, completely blanked me. He wasn't having it, Manarino. But he's got me a lot of good winners over the years, actually.
Don't they say that you should always bet when you go to horse racing? You should always bet the first jockey you see. Whenever you see a jockey at the horse race meeting, you should always bet the first jockey you see. So
is that one of those?
Yeah, that's it's a sort of if you get to the race meet and you see a jockey, you should always bet that jockey to win the next race or the race that he's running. And
I wouldn't know what a lot of them look like. I could have walked past.
Well, they're quite small, Sean. They're quite small. And they wear funny suits with high boots and they've got a whip in their hand. I know you knock them out. I
thought you meant maybe in the car park or something, and they were just there.
Listen, I don't know what you do in car parks with jockeys with whips in their hands, but listen, when you go to the race course, you should be looking at the jockey. But yeah, that's what they say. But look, Manarino, first tennis player you should back him to win the tournament. That's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, we did it. Manarino, it's all good. He's one of my favorite players, actually, Manarino. I quite like his style. I enjoy backing him. I enjoy watching him, and I see him everywhere I go. And we did it for us in Astana.
Now, we are joint leaders. The top two are exactly the same return, and the return was 24.75. Now, there is no better feeling than betting a tennis tournament and betting a winner, reading the draw, seeing him go through and seeing him win the tournament. It's always really good when you get them at big tournaments. And the two winners we had this year, the big winners we had, were both 33-1, and they were both at ATP Tour 1000 events, which makes it feel a little bit better. And when you bet one at the ATP Tour for 250, I suppose you might not think like that, but I suppose for me doing this show, I think if we can get a winner of Wimbledon and we get with the US Open, we're going to get more viewers and more people watching, because it's a bigger profile. If we get the winner of Marseille or the winner of Marrakesh, not many people might watch the show. So I like the idea that we hit it good at the two ATP Tour 1000 events. And the two ATP Tour 1000 events where we hit the winners, the first one was in Monte Carlo in April, a tournament that I was at, tournament I loved being in attendance. And Andrei Rublev won for us at 33-1, returning 24.75 units of profit. Now, he played his part in an absolute epic final against Holger Rune. It wasn't easy for us. He came through 7-5 in the final set. But how are you feeling watching that one? Did you hedge? Did you stick with it, or how are you feeling watching that match? Because it was a real end-to-end game.
I can tell you exactly what I was doing during that match. I was sat on a rooftop bar in Barcelona, looking at the first round draw for Barcelona for the show that
so
we
you didn't
doing
really care so much
later that day. I had it on, obviously, in the background, but I had to do a lot of research for the show as well. So that's why I remember where I was. It was a very nice setting, rooftop bar in a hotel in our hotel in Barcelona. So I only had about half an eye on it. I was kind of watching and then going back to the tennis. So I didn't 100% go through a load of emotions on that one, to be honest, because I had to do something else as well. But Rublev was involved in both of those winners, wasn't he?
We're going to come on to the next one in a minute.
We had a lot. We were lucky in the sense that we got the right result with Rublev on both of those. But if you look at some of the other things we had, pretty much everything we did with Sinner, we got the wrong way around, including we had him to win the tour finals, lost to Djokovic, then beat him in the Davis Cup the week after. We had that all season.
Don't get me talking about that.
We had that all season with Yannick Sinner.
Yeah.
And this one went our way with Rublev winning the one that he could have lost and losing the one that he could have won. So we got a little bit of fortune there.
So we did get fortunate of Andrei Rublev winning the tournament in Monte Carlo at 33-1. A great venue if you ever want to go to tennis. Stay to Nice, go up to Monte Carlo. A really, really nice venue. And it's always better to go to a venue when you bet the winner of the tournament. My luck was quite good at tournaments. I bet Rublev at Monte Carlo and I was there. I bet Kvitova at 100-1 in Miami when I was there.
Yeah, Miami, yeah.
Didn't go on this record. It was a WTA show. Didn't go on the record, but that was my biggest win of the year. Got my account closed with a bookmaker in the UK because I had £20 each for 100-1. That was me finished. But anyway.
Surprised to let you have that one in the first place.
Well, anyway. And my the final one, it's a joint winner. And you said Rublev. Rublev was actually in the final in Shanghai. And talking about end-to-end matches, we never got it wasn't easier for us to cash these two tickets, but we had Hubert Hur-Cash, who got the job done eventually in Shanghai back in October, beating Rublev 7-6 in the most Incredible tennis match. There was match points for either player, and Hur-Cash managed to get the job done. Rublev couldn't win his second ATP Tour 1000 event of 2023, and it was great for us. We called Rublev right in the tournament. We wanted to win, as Sean said, and we called him and we opposed him with Hur-Cash. But Hur-Cash got the job done in Shanghai at 33-1. Did you watch that one? Did you hedge that one? That must have been a crazy match for you.
I did watch that one. Yeah, I'd almost given that one up. I think wasn't he 5-2 down in the final set tiebreak? Yeah, something like that.
He was winning. He was winning because all I can remember from that match is I was typing tweets out and then deleting the tweet and then typing another tweet out. Unlucky with our bet, and then delete the tweet. He's going to win. I think I must have changed the tweet about 8 times.
It was a bit up and down. I think he was down. I think he was something like 5-2 or 5-3 down, and he came back and won it. But both of those, Rublev and Hur-Cash, they both had very foreseeable, for me, routes to the final. They didn't have difficult routes to the final on paper, and they both did what I expect. I mean, Hur-Cash, he didn't play great in the first 2 or 3 rounds. He got better. He does tend to get better and better as the tournament goes on. But we just went we just got a little bit fortunate there on the right side of it. Rublev did us a big favor. Looking at these stats, he's our man of the season, isn't he? Andrei Rublev winning for us one and losing for us one.
You're saying that. I'm going to come on to the man of the season and the man to oppose the season. I've got the records here. I've got the official records here. But that is the top 10. So let me just give you a rundown of the top 10. So that was there where Hubert Hur-Cash and Andrei Rublev tied at number 1, winning us 24.75 units of profit. So number 10, our biggest pick was Omne Kumar to win first set, Botic van der Sandschulp. And that was 9th, joint 9 with Fabio Fognini to win a set against Carlos Alcaraz. Then we had 8, Felix Auger-Aliassime to win 3-1 against Pospisil in Australian Open. Kokkinakis to win the first set against Maxime Cressy at number 7. Nishioka to win in Zhuhai at number 6. That was joint 5th again with Thomas Martin Etcheverry to win in Houston at 20-1. Both of them were runner-ups, so each way a part of the bet cashed. Benjamin Bonzi to win in Marseille was number 4 at 25-1. Again, finished runner-up, but we cashed 5.75 units. Number 3, we were very bold. We went with Adrian Manarino to win in Astana, win only, and he won in Astana. And then our joint biggest pick this season was a half point each way on both Hubert Hur-Cash and Andrei Rublev to win in Shanghai and Monte Carlo back in October and April. And both of those players won the tournament to return us 24.75. And over 400 bets we've given on this show and a 40-unit profit, 14%. I think it was 14% ROI. So a brilliant year, a brilliant load of coverage. And thank you for everyone for enjoying the shows. And thank you for your comments, kind comments and negative comments. And if you have a loser, you're going to make a note. But so hopefully you've learned a bit about tennis this season, and hopefully we can bring you more education and more winners as we go on in 2024. Now, a bit of fun for you, Sean. I've got a couple of questions for you. Number 1, the question I want to ask you is, which player did we bet more than any other player in 2023 last year on this show? So the player that we featured most, the player that we
on match bets or
any bet, the player that we bet more than any other player, and we bet him 9 times last season.
You're going to tell me I got it wrong about?
We won on him. No, we won on him, but we didn't win. We didn't win. We lost on him on. We bet him a few times on futures, but we won on him in the match bets. But who was that player? 9 times we bet him last year.
Seems a lot.
He won for us in one of these top 10.
Oh, he's on this list, is he?
He's on that list. He won for us. And
it could be
not Omni Kuma.
It could be Manarino. I tend to bet him quite often.
Is that your guess?
Well, now you're making me uncertain now. Manarino or Hur-Cash, I'd probably say are the two. Probably that I would.
Hur-Cash, we bet 7 times last year.
Normally for a first set tiebreak or something of that.
Felix Auger-Aliassime. We bet him 9 times last year.
I must have bet him to lose numerous times.
I think we bet him a lot. A lot of times we bet him was in to win the overs in the first set.
Yeah, it's because he was holding a reasonable amount, but he was doing nothing on return. Sometimes it's obvious when you've got like the Cressies and that, but sometimes it's not so obvious. I think we went through a little spell of backing Brandon Nakashima as well, because he ended up playing a ton of tiebreaks, and that went a little bit under the radar. The bookies soon catch on. But yeah, thinking about it, I suppose I did back him a few times on the old set one overs. Probably won a few times as well.
But I had to find it because I had to spell check him on the spreadsheet, and we had about 6 different spellings for him. So Had to find him in
That's
different
not
angles.
me. That's
No, it's not. Yeah, just Felix was a good thing. Anyway, so Felix Auger-Aliassime was our most popular player that we bet. We actually did make money on him. We didn't make any at all when on the tournament picks we had him, which had him a few times early season, but we made money on his matches. Who was the player that made us most profit last year?
you including outrights or just match bet?
Outrights as well. You can include outrights.
I'd probably go with Hur-Cash then.
Hur-Cash. We made 26.78 of the 40 units that we won last year on Hubert Hur. We could have called him Hubert Hur-Cash now, not Hur-Cash.
Hubert.
Herbert. My granddad was called Herbert, so I'm going to call him Herbert.
But he's not playing tennis, is he?
And he did. He was good. Hubert Hur-Cash. He made us more money than any other player. 26.78 units on Hur-Cash. Who was our most profitable player on match bets? Now we bet this player. If you get this, I'll be staggered. We bet him 5 times, and he was all decent, always quite decent money, around evens or bigger. And he won for us on 4 occasions. And he was the most profitable on match bets for us.
And he's not on this list.
He's not on that list.
I'd
be shocked if you get this.
You'd have to give me some sort of a clue.
French.
I
think he's French.
He probably is.
I think he's French.
I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me. I don't know.
Barrère.
Oh yeah, Gregoire Barrère. Yeah, that's a horses for courses thing. He tends to play pretty much his best stuff. Well, always his best stuff on quick surfaces or quick conditions, and not so good on slow conditions. So if you can get a bit of a disparity on the prices with Barrère, then generally speaking, you can do all right.
Gregoire Barrère, the most profitable
I wouldn't
player
have guessed
for
that.
us on the. I didn't think of it. Now you might guess this one. Which player cost us more money than any other player on 2023? And I think
you know what? I think I've got an inkling here. Is it? Is he also French by any chance?
No, he's not. No, he's not French.
He's not. I was going to go with Hugo Humbert because I get him wrong regularly.
Most of the times we've lost money on this guy. We bet him 6 times, 5 times he lost them. I think he won once at a very short price, but we lost more money than him because he was quite popular. And the majority of the times we bet him on the outright market.
Oh, it's outright. Okay. Where's he from?
America.
CFO?
Sebastian Corda.
Corda, yeah.
Corda. Cost us more. He is on the naughty list.
Yeah, I forgot about Corda. Yeah, obviously. Really, I should have got that.
So Sebastian Corda cost us more money than anywhere. Felix Auger-Aliassime, the most popular. Hur-Cash, our most profitable. And Gregoire Barrère made us more money on matches in 2023. Sean, my friend, I know you're going to have a break with the family now. It's been an absolute pleasure over the last 11 months or so working with you. A lot more to do next year. And thank you everyone for watching us. Look forward to the brilliant content that's going to come your way on the tennis season. And we'll be back, in 5 weeks from now, I think this tennis season starts. So enjoy your break with your family, Sean. I know it's been a real tough year for you.
Thank you.
A lot of work, and I know you enjoy your off time with your wife and your son. So have a great time. And thank you everybody for watching us here. And hopefully next year when we do the list, we get some more bigger price winners and we show a little bit more profit than the 40 years. Not too much pressure on you, Sean, but we always want to be better ourselves. But thanks everyone for watching. And that has been our top 10 tennis bets for Game Bet Match in 2023. Take care.